All right. Take two. It's been a while since I talked about Beau the Fifth Column, aka Justin King. And I saw this video, and he's kind of telling some half truths here. So without wasting too much time, we're going to go ahead and jump into this here. I don't like to waste time, as you know, I try not to. So let's get into it. Here we go. All right. Screw it. We're just going to do it like that. Okay. We're just going to do big screen. It's going to take a minute. There we go. Okay.
Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Beau again. So today we're going to talk about Biden's new plan and the concern that he didn't really take into account a lot of energy jobs in the energy sector, those oil jobs, stuff like that. There's some truth to that. He didn't, not really. He didn't take them into consideration. He didn't think about the typesetters.
Okay. So now he's going to talk about all these jobs that have been, taken over because of automation or something else. Okay, I get the point. And he's going to go on and on about it. But let's hear this statement from our president, Joe Biden. What does he say?
Let me be clear, and I know this always comes up. We're not going to ban fracking. We'll protect jobs and grow jobs, including through stronger standards like controls from methane leaks and union workers willing to install the changes. Unlike previous administrations, I don't think the federal government should give handouts to big oil to the tune of $40 billion in fossil fuel subsidies. And I'm going to be going to the Congress asking them to eliminate those subsidies. We're going to take money and invest it in clean energy jobs in America. Millions of jobs in wind, solar, and carbon capture. In fact, today's action is going to help us increase renewable energy production from offshore wind and meet our obligation to be good stewards of our public lands. It establishes a new, modern-day civilian climate corps that I called for when I was campaigning to heal our public lands and make us less vulnerable to wildfires and floods. Look, this executive order I'm signing today also makes it official that climate change will be at the center of our national security and foreign policy.
Okay, so what I heard is that he got rid of oil company subsidies. Okay. Didn't say anything about getting rid of the jobs. Didn't say anything about that. And once again, oil companies are getting, this is something that Beau the Fifth Column leaves out as well, is that a lot of oil companies are already investing in wind power and solar. They're already doing that. So the thing is, they're going to find a new way to get subsidies. But he doesn't say that. Instead, he, basically, insults the average, oil catter or wildcatter, as you may say. That's probably an old term, but still, for not being class conscious, basically is what he says. Let's hear it.
The video store clerks, the telegram operators, those people who re-ink typewriter ribbons, the people who make papyrus, switchboard operators. He didn't think about any of them. Biden is not ending that industry. That industry has been on its way out the door a while. BP, when you were talking about an energy giant, BP is one of them.
Once again, though, you left out the fact that they're not banning fracking. You left that part out. Once again, if you are actually critical of Joe Biden, you would be saying, yeah, he didn't ban fracking, though, so the industry is still going to go on. But he doesn't say that.
Right. They announced that they plan to cut fossil fuel output by 40% by 2030. Those jobs are going extinct. They're disappearing. Has nothing to do with Biden. It's the story of human civilization. Technology is making those jobs obsolete. the reality is that sector of our economy has so much sway over the House and the Senate and politics in general.
Who said that's going away? Who said that's going away at all? The thing is, like I said before, let me go ahead and show you, just so I can get some proof. Six major oil companies have invested in renewable energies. So this is just from last year. This is, So this is basically a little over a year ago. Okay, sorry. Okay, so BP, the one he talked about, BP is what he said. Shell, Chevron, Total, Eni, and Exxon have pumped billions into clean energy projects. Although question marks remain over whether they are doing enough. Despite the growth in renewables, Big Oil spent only 1% of its combined budget on green energy schemes in 2018. Major oil companies' investments in renewable energy projects. Wind and solar from 1980 onwards. Formerly known as British Petroleum Company, and rebranded to, company still has more than 220 megawatts of wind capacity in the U.S. and started to reinvest in renewables in recent years. So it sounds like they've already planned for the future. So to say this very ignorant stuff that, the oil companies are going to be out of business. Just no, they're not. They're not going to. They've already planned for the future, Bacon. So this is just ignorant. Once again, this is half-truths that he's talking about here. This isn't even me defending oil companies. This is me saying is that you are giving people falsehoods. Go ahead.
That they've had too much power. And therefore, they've been able to get handouts this entire time to kind of keep the industry rolling.
The thing is that they will continue to get handouts and they will continue to get subsidies and everything else once they get further into renewable energies. The game doesn't change. It's just the players. Why are you feeding people bullshit by saying, these companies are going to, they're not going to have those things? They still are. It's just a different name. Instead of getting subsidies for oil derricks or whichever, or, high sea stuff or, whichever, for drills or whatever the case may be, now they're going to say, now we're going to get subsidies for, putting in, 100 windmills in this, on this open prairie, Biggin. This is just the dumbest argument I've heard. It's not going away.
Even after technology had advanced beyond it, we're there. We can move beyond it now. Those leases that they keep talking about, those are handouts. Those are ridiculously undervalued. And it's what keeps a lot of these companies afloat.
Yeah. And once again, they can sell that land to put windmills on, or they can have these huge solar panel fields, much as the same way as China is doing right now. So no, this is ridiculous. This is not going away.
It's a lot like the manufacturing jobs everybody keeps clamoring for. Bring them back to the United States. They're not coming, guys. Yeah. They are not coming.
He is right. They are not coming back. You're right.
Manufacturing may come back, but the jobs won't.
Yeah, we know.
It's going to be automated.
Yeah.
You'll have a few jobs for robot tenders or whatever, but it's going to be automated. Those days of the long assembly lines, they're disappearing. Those days are numbered. So if you are in this industry and you're worried about it, it shouldn't come as a surprise. I mean, y'all know this.
So this is his appeal, heavy quotes, his appeal to the wildcatters, the folks that work the drills, all that sort of thing. You know, the folks who work in the oil fields. This is his appeal.
Y'all know that these jobs have been heading out the door for a while. You got articles about it going back 15 years. We all knew this was coming. So you're left with a choice. You can call up your senator and your representative and let them fearmonger to you and explain how this is all going to end tomorrow.
If they ever call you back, probably they wouldn't. They'd just be like, whatever.
Not. They're sitting on leases and permits. They've stockpiled them because they knew this was coming. You can advocate on behalf of the multi-billion-dollar oil and energy companies, where you can advocate for your own interests for a change. Say, fine, if you're going to do this and you're going to enact these programs, they're going to create these other jobs while kind of putting the final nail in ours. We'd like some educational programs.
Let me tell you why that's funny. That is not going to happen. And even if it does happen, that training will be basic bitch stuff. All right? How are you going to tell someone that's, worked as a drill operator, for example? How are you going to tell them, well, okay, now you're going to be drilling for, I don't know, you're going to be working for this company now. It's like, yeah, some jobs can translate into other things. But to say that, oh, yeah, well, cross-training, let me tell you something. I've worked in the United States long enough to know that cross-training is something that basically they say it's on-the-job training, all right? The United States invented, I would say, on-the-job training. They're not going to sit there and train you about, every single different thing. They're going to say, oh, well, you seem to know about this. All right, so good luck to you. That's basically it. You learn on the job. They're not going to sit there and teach you. Companies don't have the time. They don't have the money. So this is ridiculous because it's not going to happen. And even if it does happen, like I said, it's going to be, you're going to sit through a 2-hour PowerPoint presentation or something like that. Oh, well, you worked in this field, and this is how it translates into that. That's all it is. And they're going to say, good luck to you, and get going. And still, you're going to have folks who are going to squeeze that orange, whether that's in Alberta, where they're continuing to drill, and everything else, no matter what. As Joe Biden said at the very beginning of that, we're not banning fracking. We're just taking away the subsidies. That's all he said. But like I say, we've seen here that the major oil companies have already invested in, more cleaner energy. And the thing is, it's ridiculous to say cleaner energy anyway, because the thing is, you still produce it with plastic and everything else. So it's not really clean. It's the same thing with these solar panels and whatnot. That's not clean energy. It's like if you want to be give a strict definition, no, it isn't. Same thing, like I say, with solar panels. All these rare earth metals and everything else. That's not clean. Is that those can be corrosive, and they're sitting in some fields, just like a battery. You don't want to have a battery that you don't have a big old car battery or something like that. It's got, cadmium and all these other elements that, once they're out there, it's deadly, and it's poisonous stuff, for animals and for people. So, I mean, to say this type of ridiculous nonsense, oh, well, actually, and like I say, his appeal to these folks is very backhanded. This is a very backhanded sort of, You need to join these unions, and you need to fight for your class interests, you fucker. You know? And it's like, oh, well, you should have known. They had articles about it for 15 years. You should know better, jackass. I mean, is this the appeal that you're making? This is not an appeal. This is basically saying you need to do it. This is trying to strong arm people, in my opinion. People can feel free to disagree. That's fine when they see this, but go ahead.
Advocate for your class for a change instead of being fearmongered to by the billionaires and letting them push you into advocating to make them even richer, because this industry is going away.
No, it isn't. Once again, that is proven. No, it isn't. They're reinvesting money into clean energy. They are not going away. Okay? They're not going away. They are reinvesting. They know the game just as much as anybody else does. What you're saying are half-truths at best. I'm not saying you're lying. I'm saying is that these are half-truths at best, because these companies are not going away. They are retooling, and they are going to kick a lot of people to the curb. Some people will be saved by BP and everything else and Exxon and say, okay, well, we'll keep you on. But the vast majority will be kicked out, you know. And there will still be people who will be pumping oil out of the Permian Basin here in the state of Texas. There's still going to be folks who are going to be pumping oil up there in Alaska. They're still going to be pumping oil in Alberta, you know. And they will find a way to do it until it's fully banned. But just like anything else, they're riding the wave right now. And BP and Exxon are simply twiddling their thumbs. They're just waiting like, well, okay. When we, once the tooling gets there and once we get everything set up, then we're going to continue to make our money doing that. And we're going to continue to get subsidies for now our windmills that, that our company produced, or Exxon, or, our solar panels that just came out, our new model of solar panels. Don't you want those? Once that happens, the system isn't going to change. You're still going to be charged each month for, however many kilowatt hours you use and everything else. The system doesn't change. But people like this somehow think, oh, yeah, well, these companies are going away. No, they're not. They're biding their time until it can be mass produced, and until these oil companies can make enough profit that it equals the profit that they lost with their oil producing business. That's it.
And when it does, they're not going to take care of you. Have they really done a good job up till now?
Yeah, that's true. But some, like I said before, some people will be saved and they will be loyal, and they'll say, yeah, yes, sir, we'll go ahead and do it. And like I say, you're also leaving out a lot of the independent producers that do exist. It's not just Exxon and Conoco or, BP or anything. There are plenty of other small companies that existed. I mean, like I say, I live in Texas. You can talk to plenty of folks who will say, oh, yeah, I remember I worked for this company, and, maybe it was a subsidiary or whatever the case may be. But say it's purely those folks. That's bullshit. Go ahead.
I'd also point out there's another job that's disappearing. See, I'm down here on the Gulf Coast. Those people who have to clean up after those spills, those jobs are going away too.
No. Once again, this is absolute nonsense argument. And he's feeding his audience half-truths. BP is not going to go away. Exxon is not going to go away. None of these companies are going to, like I say, this is more of a slap in the face for folks, all right? What he's giving is some sort of false hope, some sort of, well, these companies are going to go away. No, they're not. They'll just change their name and they'll turn themselves into a clean energy brand. I mean, capitalism is a very malleable system. I think that, regardless of how we feel about politics, that's very true, is that the economic system that exists, combined with this, we'll just say, liberal system of government that we have, combined with the economic side of capitalism that exists, it's very easy to co-opt ideas and say, well, yeah, we've always believed that. We've always believed those things. We've always believed in racial equality, et cetera, et cetera. We've always done that. It's very easy for capitalist entities, whether that be corporation, whether it's a corporation, whether it's a subsidy, or any of these other type of things, these LLCs, limited liability corporation, or however it defines itself, they can say, oh yeah, we've always wanted racial equality, or we've always wanted to have clean energy. It just wasn't possible at the time. That's all it was. And the minute that we found that it was useful, in other words, how they could make money, then yeah, we took it. So I just don't like this type of garbage that Beau the Fifth Column is trying to say. And he was another one of these folks who said, well, when Joe Biden does something bad, I'm going to make a video about it. But so far, he's just, giving lip service, in my opinion. And he's still, like I say, if you watch more of Beau the Fifth Column, a.k.a. Justin King, you'll find out that he is still a bootlicker for the military. He still says, oh, yeah, the military is still a revolutionary force and this and that. Oh, it's good that we did that. And you'll see just how ridiculous it is. I only say that because I really don't like Beau the Fifth Column. I think that he is grifting. I think that he's somebody who has admitted that someone writes these scripts for him. That's why you always see his head moving around, because it's like someone wrote this stuff for him. And yeah, he gives a good performance. But are these actually his thoughts? That's the real question. Does he actually care about these things, or is he simply grifting? And I think that needs to be said. Anyway, I hope you'll enjoy that little bit. See you later, and goodbye.